Around, gather around, PureSkill family. This your boy Shreve, and I'm back at it with another video. All right, let's get into it. So, this is the moment y'all all been waiting for. We've been working and grinding just to get to here. Well, not just to get to here. We got a whole game to create, but this is a good landmark. What's it called? Okay, so we're gonna be laying our first keyframe today, and then of course in the next episode we're gonna be working full edge on this animation, right? So right now, um, let's just start with the first animation. We're gonna do the idle animation where they're standing still and they gotta kind of do a little something just to show that they're alive and it's not just a static little mesh just not doing anything. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I got my notes right here. All right. First thing we did analyzation prep. So we gather reference and we gotta look at that reference. We can't just have reference and then just have it playing in the background, and we don't. We gotta use it properly, okay? So to prep for our analyzation, I like to draw on my animations frame by frame, try and get it to look good. Now most people use other programs. Don't The only program I know people to use is Sync Sketch, but that's paid, so I don't really use it. But so I don't use it. But what's it called? I use Krita for it. It's gonna be the same thing. Krita, you can import animations, and and it works fine. So so with this one, the frame rate was 60 frames per second. So what I did, well, that's just normal video. So it was made in 60 frames per second. So I threw it in Premiere Pro and then just re-exported it as a 24 frames per second. Exported as 24 frames per second, and also exported as a PNG so it could create an image sequence. Put that in a folder. Then in Krita, I imported into Krita at 100 frames. 100 frames at a time, because if you import more than 100 frames at a time or import the whole image sequence at one time, it's kind of get choppy and it kind of looks bad when you play it. Krita just can't handle that much data going in at one time, so do it 100 frames at a time, and of course at the end there will probably be less than 100 frames. Just import the rest of the frames, right? And then you'll have a nice smooth frame. You can go ahead and watch me do that right now. All right, guys. Okay, so after I imported the frames, I started analyzing. I started analyzing the references frame by frame. I really only did half of the cycle because the other half is just me doing the same thing but mirrored. And you know, programs like Blender and Maya and all those things have mirror options. So I'll show you guys that when we're animating. You understand what I'm saying? So I analyzed the first half of the reference, just the front and the sides of me doing it. I drew on top of it, just taking notes. If you pay attention really closely in the time lapse, you might be able to decipher what it is. But like I tell you guys all the time, when you're taking notes, the notes is really just for you. If you guys want a tutorial on how to animate certain things, I mean not how to animate, on how to analyze references more in depth, I'll put that in the comments and I'll do it. What's it called? And then when you're taking notes, just understand movement. Make sure to highlight which leg is the weight of your body on. Of course, usually your body's on one leg most of the time, and you switches off between your movements. And then at the end, when you're done, you'll see me highlight the keyframes that are main frames, like the main frame. So you know you have your main keyframes, then the in betweens, and then like another passive in betweens, and then you start polishing. But right now I highlight the main ones, the ones in yellow. You guys see me do that at the end, so go ahead and watch me do that. All right, now we're ready to get back into Blender. So we get back into Blender, and the first thing that I do is I import the Dante link of the character into a new file. The reason I didn't start animating in the file of the rig is because, again, we're protecting the animator. Animator in this case is us, but usually what you want to do as a rigger is set up your file the way you see it set up in there, with just a folder with the mesh, a folder with the rig, and then put both of those in the main folder. That way, you can link the character into a separate file, and the animator can't mess up or damage the rig or anything. All the animator can simply do is animate the rig itself. You understand what I'm saying? That's all the animator will be able to do. There's a ways around it, but if the animator is doing his job or doing what they're supposed to be doing, they won't mess with that. Another good thing about Blender is the fact that because it's being linked from a different file, it always remembers the source file. So what you can do is go into the source file when needed and change things. If you need to change something about the rig, fix something about the rig, you can change it in the source file. Go into your source file, change it, and then refresh the animated file, and the change or the update will be fixed. And that's a really good feature. What's it called? One of the things that I went in and I had to actually change myself was because I went into mine and I realized the custom properties wasn't working because it was a linked property, and linked properties, like I told you, doesn't allow you to edit things of the rig. So being that it was linked, the file was looking at the custom properties as data. So I had to go back into the source file and click. It was just a quick check mark, and it's just giving you the option to library override, which is library overriding is what allows the mesh to be moved and messed with. I library overrided those things and library override the rig in general, and now you're able to use it and use the custom properties. It was a quick mistake that I messed up, and I realized I had to just go ahead and go there and fix it. Linked it in there, and now I'm ready to animate. So go ahead and check those out. All right, so this is the moment you all been waiting for this video. We're about to make our first keyframe. First keyframe is going to be the same process as making all the rest of the keyframes. Essentially, you're going to use your knowledge of animation, you're going to use your knowledge of the 12 principles, and you're going to make a proper pose. And I want you to think of animating in 3D as pose by pose by pose, because if you think about it in animation and doing all that, it gets too complicated in your brain. Just think about one pose at a time. The pose you're on, get that looking nice. Be an artist. Don't just copy the reference. Understand what's happening in the reference. That's why we analyzed it. Get a similar pose and then push it, because you have abilities as an animator that you won't have from a live action. So just copying reality directly really is taking away your creativity as an artist. Make sure you use the reference, but be an artist at the same time. Understand the movement, get a nice pose, all of those good things, and look at the creation of the first frame. Alright guys, so that was it for this video. In the next video we're going to continue working on this animation and probably finish it, and we'll be working on to the next animations. I'm excited to go on this journey with y'all, continue with this journey. If y'all been here since production vlog 1, I'm so thankful, I'm so happy. Keep watching, you guys are gonna learn a lot. If you guys don't learn something that you want to learn, y'all know what it is. I say it a billion times. Ask for a tutorial. I got y'all. All right, man.